move to Ferrari was supposed to be the start of something legendary, a new beginning with the most iconic team in Formula One history, a golden opportunity to finally grab that elusive 8th world title, and a chance to reaffirm himself as the undisputed king of the grid. But before he's even had a chance to slam the throttle in red, he's already staring down a massive headache. Ferrari's team boss, Vasseur, just dropped a bombshell that could be a serious problem for Hamilton as he prepares for his debut season in Maranello. Vasseur didn't sugarcoat anything. This wasn't some corporate pep talk. Oh no, this was a ruthless reality check. No one in Ferrari is immune to scrutiny. Not a single bolt on the car is considered perfect. And if you're not improving constantly, you might as well pack your bags and go home. Translation: if you're not progressing every day, you're failing. And guess what that means? Hamilton is under even more pressure than usual. There's no time to warm up, no space to settle in. The expectation is clear: deliver results immediately. So what does this mean for his future at Ferrari? Can he adapt fast enough? Or will Ferrari's unforgiving, often cutthroat environment make this the toughest battle of his career? Buckle up because we're diving deep into this mess. But before we do, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to miss the insights that could change everything. Let's get one thing straight. Vasseur's statement wasn't some cheesy locker room motivation speech. It was a full-on declaration of war against mediocrity. Ferrari was agonizingly close to stealing the 2024 Constructors' Championship, but despite massive progress, they still fell short. Now, with Hamilton stepping into the SF25, the pressure to end Ferrari's 16-year title drought has skyrocketed to unprecedented levels. Vasseur didn't hold back. We need to improve everywhere. If we don't have that mindset, we're dead. Not exactly a warm welcome for Lewis. And make no mistake, he wasn't pointing fingers at any single department. He's demanding absolute perfection across the board. That means aerodynamics, power unit efficiency, race strategy, pit stops, driver execution. Everything has to be flawless. And that's where Hamilton's real challenge begins. For the past 12 years, Lewis has been at the heart of Mercedes' dominance. He was the centerpiece of a well-oiled, data-driven machine, a team that operated with military-like precision, where everything revolved around his feedback, his driving style, and his needs. He had a structured, stable environment, a team that knew how to handle pressure, and an organization built to support him. Well, welcome to Ferrari, where things run very, very differently. Ferrari is, let's say, a little more chaotic. Their decision-making tends to be more emotional, sometimes outright impulsive, and their ability to handle pressure is questionable at best. Unlike Mercedes, where Hamilton had a well-structured support system, Ferrari has a history of knee-jerk reactions, internal politics, and, let's be honest, some strategic blunders that have left fans face-palming for years. And let's not forget the elephant in the room, Charles Leclerc. For 4 years, Ferrari has been built around their golden boy. Sure, on paper, both drivers are supposed to start with equal treatment, but that's not how F1 works. If Hamilton doesn't immediately put in spectacular performances, Ferrari's natural instinct will be to shift their focus toward their long-term investment. And Lewis, well, he might find himself fighting an uphill battle within his own team. So the million-dollar question is, can Hamilton handle Ferrari's pressure cooker of a team? Will he thrive in the emotionally charged chaos? Or is this shaping up to be the toughest challenge of his legendary career? One thing's for sure, this isn't just another team switch. This is war. When people say Ferrari is intense, they're not just throwing around buzzwords, it's a pressure cooker. Every move, every tiny decision, every lap is put under the microscope. And the tifosi, oh, those guys don't mess around. If you don't deliver, immediately, the weight of expectations will crush you faster than a botched pit stop in Monza. And guess what? Lewis Hamilton is walking straight into the lion's den. As if dealing with Ferrari's soap opera-level drama wasn't enough, Hamilton also has to relearn how to drive. One of the biggest adjustments? The brakes. Ferrari uses Brembo brakes, which are a completely different beast compared to the industry-standard carbon brakes he had in Mercedes. And let's just say that early reports suggest Lewis isn't exactly vibing with them. The modulation is different, the feel is unique, and even the slightest delay in getting used to them could cost him crucial performance in those all-important opening races. In a sport where milliseconds decide everything, that's a big problem. But honestly, Hamilton's biggest obstacle isn't the brakes, the strategy calls, or even Ferrari's chaotic management style. No. The real challenge is a guy named Charles Leclerc. Leclerc isn't just Ferrari's #1 driver. He's their golden child. The guy speaks fluent Italian. He's been with the team for years. He's built deep personal relationships with the engineers, mechanics, and strategists. Meanwhile, Hamilton may be a 7-time world champion, but in the world of Ferrari, he's the new guy. Everyone in that garage already knows how Leclerc operates. They've spent years fine-tuning setups to match his driving style, crafting race strategies around his strengths. Does that mean Ferrari will just ignore Hamilton? No. But what it does mean is that he'll have to fight harder than ever to establish himself as the team leader. And if Leclerc starts the season on fire, Ferrari's natural instinct will be to back their long-term investment. That could put Hamilton in a position he's never been in before, a secondary role. And if you think Ferrari doesn't play favorites, let's take a quick trip down memory lane, shall we? Michael Schumacher, the entire Ferrari empire was built around him, while Rubens Barrichello was basically a glorified support act. Fernando Alonso, no doubt he was Ferrari's only priority when he was there. Sebastian Vettel, in his early Ferrari years, the team revolved around him, while Kimi Räikkönen had to settle for leftovers. Ferrari has a history of picking a side, and if that pattern continues, Leclerc could end up with full backing while Hamilton fights an uphill battle. But here's the thing, Lewis isn't just any driver. This is a guy who's built his career on shattering expectations, proving doubters wrong, and delivering under insane pressure. He's a fighter, and if anyone can navigate Ferrari's political minefield, it's him. The first 5 races of 2025 are absolutely crucial. If Hamilton starts strong and outperforms Leclerc, he could solidify himself as the team's true leader. But if he struggles even slightly, Ferrari could start shifting all their support behind Leclerc's title campaign. And if that happens, well, let's just say Hamilton's Ferrari adventure could get very messy, very fast. If Lewis Hamilton thought joining Ferrari was going to be a smooth ride to championship glory, he's in for a serious wake-up call. The pressure is insane, the expectations are sky-high, and the battle is just beginning. The chaos surrounding Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari is only just beginning, and as we edge closer to the first race of the season, the tension is reaching a boiling point. This isn't just another high-profile driver switch. It's the kind of seismic shift that could rewrite the balance of power in Formula One. With Red Bull still the dominant force, McLaren creeping up with a deadly fast package, and Mercedes desperately trying to claw their way back into contention, Ferrari cannot afford to stumble out of the gate. Every decision they make, every upgrade they bring, and every strategy call they execute will be magnified under the microscope of the entire motorsport world. And in the center of it all, Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion who is stepping into the most high-pressure seat in the sport, one that has chewed up and spit out some of the greatest drivers in history. But let's be real, the real war isn't just with Red Bull or McLaren, it's within Ferrari itself. Charles Leclerc is not backing down. This is his team. This is his house. This is his legacy on the line. For the past 4 years, Ferrari has molded itself around him, and now he has to fight for his status against one of the greatest drivers of all time. The fans might love Hamilton, the media might hype him up, and Ferrari might be selling Hamilton jerseys faster than hotcakes in Monza. But make no mistake, Leclerc isn't about to roll over and let Hamilton take control. If there's even a slight gap in performance between the two, expect Ferrari to quietly but firmly shift their backing to Leclerc. The politics of Ferrari are as ruthless as the racing itself, and history tells us that they will not hesitate to pick a favorite if they believe it increases their chances of a championship. And this is what Hamilton is up against. A young, hungry, and ultra-fast teammate who knows Ferrari inside and out. A team that has a long history of playing favorites when the pressure is on. A car that, while fast, still has weaknesses that need to be ironed out before it can take the fight to Red Bull. A ruthless, cutthroat environment where even the smallest mistake can be magnified into a full-blown crisis. This isn't Mercedes. There's no safe haven here. At Mercedes, Hamilton was the undisputed leader, the man whose every preference, setup, and race strategy was built around. At Ferrari, here's a challenger, a rival, an outsider fighting to become an insider. And what happens if Ferrari starts losing patience? What if Hamilton doesn't adapt quickly enough? What if he struggles against Leclerc in the opening rounds? The headlines will turn. The fans will turn. The team will turn. Because at Ferrari, loyalty is conditional. We've seen this happen before. Fernando Alonso was treated as a hero until Ferrari decided they had a new direction. Sebastian Vettel went from Ferrari's golden boy to being unceremoniously dumped over a phone call. And now, if Hamilton doesn't deliver immediately, he risks the same fate. That's why the opening 5 races of 2025 are everything. Bahrain, Jeddah, Australia, Suzuka, Miami. These will be the proving grounds. If Hamilton outperforms Leclerc early, he will solidify himself as Ferrari's undisputed leader. But if he doesn't, the scales could tip in Leclerc's favor, and Ferrari will start pulling the strings accordingly. Because at the end of the day, Ferrari doesn't care about legacies. They don't care about emotions. They care about winning. So the million-dollar question remains. Can Hamilton take control of Ferrari before Ferrari takes control of him? Because once the internal battles start, once the subtle favoritism kicks in, once the politics start influencing race strategies, there will be no turning back. The media frenzy is already at maximum overdrive, and we haven't even reached the first race. Every radio message, every pit stop, every side-by-side battle between Hamilton and Leclerc will be headline news. And just when you thought the chaos couldn't get any wilder, Ferrari is already dealing with cracks in the foundation before the season has even started. The first internal battles between Hamilton and Leclerc are already taking shape, and the whispers inside Maranello are getting louder. Ferrari might be walking into a full-blown civil war. On one side, you have Charles Leclerc, the homegrown prodigy, the man Ferrari has invested years into, the guy who has carried this team through the trenches, dealing with underperforming cars, questionable strategy calls, and all the way to Ferrari's expectations. And on the other, Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, a living legend, and now a man on a mission to prove he still has what it takes to dominate. And here's the thing, neither of them is backing down. Leclerc knows that this is the biggest challenge of his career. If he beats Hamilton over the course of the season, he will prove, once and for all, that he belongs in the elite tier of drivers, that Ferrari was right to bet on him as their future. But if he loses, if Hamilton comes in and steals the team out from under him, the narrative flips entirely. Leclerc becomes the guy who couldn't hold his ground against a 40-year-old Hamilton. And for Hamilton, the stakes are just as high. He didn't come to Ferrari to play second fiddle. He didn't leave Mercedes, a team that was built around him, just to be reduced to a supporting role. He came here for one reason only, to win that 8th world title and cement his place as the greatest of all time. So let's be real, there's no way in hell these two are going to just work together peacefully all season long. Every qualifying session will be a statement. Every race strategy will be a political move. Every podium celebration will be an unspoken battle for dominance inside Ferrari. And Ferrari, they're stuck in the middle of a ticking time bomb. Because sooner or later, they will have to choose a side. History tells us that Ferrari always picks a leader. Schumacher had the team behind him. Alonso had the team behind him. Vettel had the team behind him. Until he didn't. So what happens this time? If Leclerc starts the season strong, does Ferrari naturally gravitate towards their long-term investment? If Hamilton outshines Leclerc early, does Ferrari abandon their golden boy in favor of immediate results? This isn't just about performance on the track. This is about power, influence, and control within Ferrari itself. And if you don't think this tension is already brewing, just listen to what's coming out of the Ferrari garage. Reports are already emerging that Leclerc's side of the garage is fiercely protective of their driver, pushing back on any changes that could favor Hamilton. Hamilton has reportedly asked for adjustments to the car's braking system, which could potentially shift the balance of the car away from what Leclerc is used to. Ferrari still hasn't made it clear how they will handle team orders, meaning that when these two inevitably go wheel to wheel in a crucial moment, there could be absolute chaos over the radio. And if you think the media is eating this up now, wait until the first race. Imagine Hamilton and Leclerc side by side on the first lap. Imagine a controversial team order being ignored. Imagine a disastrous strategy call that benefits one driver over the other. Ferrari is walking straight into a potential disaster, and they might not even realize it yet. So what happens next? If Ferrari can keep things under control, if they find a way to balance this internal war while still competing for the title, then this might be the strongest Ferrari lineup we've seen in decades. But if this explodes, and let's be honest, it's Ferrari, so the explosion is coming, then this season could turn into a bloodbath inside the team. Hamilton didn't leave Mercedes for another nearly there project. He came to win now. Leclerc isn't about to let his entire Ferrari legacy be overshadowed by a driver who just walked in the door. Ferrari